having fun. I love these clowns.
Well, the thing is, our biggest criticism of Vitality was always like, we don't know what to expect from them because their gameplay is so random. But
We
even
still
now,
don't.
their voice tones are just as random. So it's just absolute perfect synergy over there. It's just they're giving us exactly what we expect from them.
I mean, they've got to send a message to the LEC. Vitality is an organization. They haven't really lived up to many of the expectations that we've had of them based on the rosters that they've been able to build over the years. But now, with the return of Humanoid alongside Kazi, that reunion has clearly given this Vitality roster a new energy.
Yeah.
It's given them a new vibe. And that is one of uncomfortable tension, right? Where we don't really know if it's awkward, if it's love, or if it's somewhere strangely in between.
I love the fact that Pad said in an interview that he brought Humanoid for the atmosphere. That's actually what
There
he's
is an atmosphere.
There
That
is
is
an
absolutely
atmosphere.
true.
I feel like the players are having fun, and yeah, they've been winning so far in the week. Actually, Karzy had a tweet and a celebration after the win yesterday. A loud celebration once again. It's an asylum up there. I don't know what's going on.
I mean, he did bring him from the atmosphere because it was Karzy before, and he was always trying to find a friend to bounce this energy off of, and there was just no one there. And now, at least with Humanoid, you know, the sky is the limit. I don't know where it's going to go.
I'm genuinely shocked by Vitality as well, because in the first 2 weeks, I thought, okay, they're going to continue to be a middle-of-the-pack team. Then, on Saturday, they have one of the cleanest games I've ever seen from the organization's whole history. Yesterday, they had a chaotic game, and, like, Sure, I understand people don't like best of ones. I get it. But it does create some pretty entertaining circumstances. And I think Vitality are taking advantage of the chaos that exists in the LEC right now.
I mean, that's the thing. They entered the week saying that they should go 3-0, having KC, GX, and G2 to face off against. I was like, they're capping hard. Turns out, they're not so much. They're actually doing pretty good. We'll see how it ends up for them today. KC, talking about them, actually, they're sitting strong at the top of the table here so far with a very loud man in the mid lane. A wolf coming straight from South Korea. They're dropping bars in game as well.
It seems like it, yes.
I mean,
oh my god.
He's just shocking to me. But it's really funny because it's been a while since every time you get Koreans, you're like, okay, they're going to take a little bit to adapt. But for me, his personality is just top notch.
I kept on hearing, because his Korean teacher is my Korean teacher as well, that Yehu kind of has like Huni vibes. If you remember who Huni was back then and the personality that he had. For me, I see it here. I cannot wait to interview him. But yeah, yo! And being very loud in game as well. I think Kalist is kind of sick, although, of hearing him yell so much. But yeah.
Hey, I mean, he's bringing them W's, you know. You can't be sick of wins, you know.
And guys, looking at what happened this week, we have to talk about the rats in the room, the infestation that we had in the Berlin studio so far. Vedi, do you want to say something?
I mean, they continue to prove the doubters wrong. That is pretty undeniable. I mean, it's hard to so their start you could write off as, okay, best of ones. Okay, they beat Heretics, a team near the bottom of the standings, and then they got a lucky win against Shifters, right? And you can dismiss those. But this weekend, it's very hard to dismiss. Like, at a certain point, you just have to bring up the question, like, have they found a formula for success? And sure, like, the roster, you can criticize certain elements of them. Yes, like Bowser's champion pool, their early game, like how coordinated really are they? But it doesn't matter because all that matters is they're getting the wins. They've developed a formula for getting the wins. And right now, LEC teams are struggling to break the formula. You want to put champions away from Baus? Sure, what does that do? Open up Crowny and Nemesis. Yeah. Okay, you want to try and limit Nemesis pool. Well, this man has a champion Ocean. He has so many champs at his disposal. And I genuinely think that Anivia performance yesterday, one of the best Anivia performances I've ever seen. Like, he was the most aggressive pro player Anivia I've ever seen. Like, he is playing out of his mind. I think was it you or was it Jack yesterday saying top 3 mid in the LEC right now? I think that conversation needs to be happening about that man in the mid lane. Like, you can't afford, like, the excuses can only go so far for LR. At a certain point, you just got to be, are they just a good team, right?
Yeah. Talking about Jack Spectra, actually, he digged in the archives from Baus FFS. One of his very first videos he posted on his Instagram resurfaced yesterday on social media, reacting to the undefeated weekend they had so far.
bien. We chilling. Solo bolo.
What?
He's
What?
He's chilling, but actually the whole lineup is chilling, and something that was really cool and memorable. We all love moms, and we all love telling our moms when things are going well. And Cajol, first thing he did after slurring and insulting everybody in the league was calling his mom, his dear mom, and celebrate the victory with her.
What has it been for you? Like,
Yo,
what
my
have you
mom,
been
where's my
working
mom
on
at? She's
behind the scenes
messaging
for
me.
this success?
What do you mean you didn't listen to me? Like, you were actually
Mom, we
cosplaying so
won. You
much
saw
you were
that?
listening to me. You were actually not listening the whole time.
5 hours.
Isn't that
lectures we had, I
crazy?
didn't listen. I had YouTube shorts running on the side. I'm sorry.
Hey, oh, love you, mom. I love you.
Bad, man. But you know what? I guess it worked out, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I'll call you later,
what I'm
okay?
saying is I came into this, I was very behind of everybody. Everybody was smirking.
Yeah, will do. Yo, much love, mom.
Everybody's still. I got solo killed a lot of times this split, but yeah, I've just been working really hard to catch up to everybody, and
Bye,
I
mom.
think I'm almost there now.
Yeah, no, I
Cheers,
absolutely
mom.
agree.
Cheers, mom.
Banger. And yeah, LR sitting in a three-way tie, actually, for sixth place. Above them, there's a four-way tie for second, and KC at the top in first, coming into the last 3 days of the regular season. KC and Koi at the top once again, but I don't know. Everything has been insane this week.
This just means stakes.
Yeah.
Everything is extremely important because every single every single game does matter. And I mean, like, for any long-time LEC fans, you'll know this. We've talked about these situations before, but every game does in fact count in this situation. And for a lot of these teams, their schedules are going to determine a lot.
Exactly, and for me, it's super cool to see, you know, the middle of the pack, because you have GX, Movistar, Navi, and Team Vitality. They all got to this second position with different circumstances. You know, Vitality pulling crazy upsets, Navi being consistent and good from the beginning. And as we point out as well, you have Los Ratones with the Legacy Orcs, Fnatic, and G2 struggling for maybe one of the last playoff spot. So it's crazy.
It's a scary position to be in, and we'll see who's able to navigate their way through it, because for a lot of these teams, at first you'd sit there and say, oh, some teams have easier schedules than others, but given the chaos and the inconsistency that we're seeing in our best of one format, anyone can upset anyone, anything can happen on the day, and at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is showing up and playing the best damn game you can.
And that's the thing. It's really hard to expect anything, honestly, from the teams we have so far, because I saw Vitality enter the week and I was like, they've played only easy teams so far. It's going to get spicy for them. But then they decide to wake up. LR decides to wake up. It feels like everything is up for grabs, honestly. You look at the top teams. We saw G2 fall yesterday. We saw Movistar Koi fall to LR as well this week. I don't know, like, who has been the most surprising team for you guys so far? We've talked about
LR.
Navi.
LR has
But
been
now,
the most
it's
surprising.
LR.
They beat Koi
And
and
the
G2.
The last two
It's crazy.
champions,
Yeah.
pretty much. So it's
I was talking to Cajol yesterday, and we were like, okay, they have Navi coming in today. Surely that's the easiest matchup for them. We'll see about that later today, if they can overcome them. But so far, 2-0 starts in the LEC. One team that has been struggling a bit more, though, is Fnatic, and Genie is standing by with top laner and Pyros ahead of the game.
Yeah, Pyrrhus, you're going up against KC Blue after KC yesterday, which was a little bit of an oopsie. How does that feel to be in the top lane island all by yourself?
To be honest, yesterday was an oopsie, yeah, as you said, but today we will take revenge.
All right, we'll see about that. Thank you so much. We're going to be heading over to an interview as well that I did, or doing right now with Hazel, because there's actually two of me. Thank you so much. Welcome everyone to the backstage interview here with Hazel ahead of their matchup. So let's start there. First of all, welcome. Lovely to have you here in the LEC. You have a pretty important game coming up, although you know you guys are towards the bottom of that leaderboard. Happens. There's still a chance for contention. How are you feeling about the game today and the two games that you have after as well?
I mean, the last games we played, we put up a pretty good fight, I would say. Against G2, it was kind of one fight that made the game hard. I think we can beat Fnatic. I don't think they're very... I don't want to sound too egotistical, but I don't think they're a hard enemy considering how they've played this week. So it's kind of all on us. It just matters how we play. I think enemies are all doable.
All right, I think that's a very great way of looking at it, especially because you're bringing up as well how it went against G2. So I want to talk about your experience in general here on the LEC, because, you know, you guys did beat Los Ratones, the only team at this point, you know, that you guys have beat, but also they beat G2. So a lot of questions around how teams are performing. But from your perspective individually, how has it been for you?
I mean, it's took quite a time to get used to coming from Div 2. The scrims we were playing back then, like 1 year ago, me and Tao were not that great, but now we have some opponents that are kind of giving us a challenge. But I feel like individually we've shown like a couple of times that we have what it takes to stay at this level. It's a bit unfortunate how inconsistent we've been this split, because I do feel like if we manage to make playoffs, which is still like a 0.014%
Hey, it's still possible though.
chance or something like this I saw on Twitter. I feel like if we make it, we can still show some really nice things.
I think in general, like, you should be very proud of yourselves. Of, you know, you mentioned it and touched upon it yourself. Yes, you came all the way here from Div 2 and now you're in the LEC, but you've gone up against, you know, players that have gone to internationals for many, many times. So speaking of these opponents that, you know, have maybe made your life a little bit difficult, or maybe some opponents that you think were too easy, do you want to try to give us some spice there?
I'm kind of limited because I do really love trash talking people, but I feel being so low on the leaderboard, I
Yes.
guess, it's kind of hard. I do have a lot of ego, and I do show it, especially in that last interview I had after the Los Ratones win. I do have to say, some players have like really amazed me with how they play, but some have disappointed me really hard. As in, I really looked up to them for a long time.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm not that far off anymore. I feel like if I come back in LEC next year, I think I will be able to keep up a lot more.
All right, that's, I mean, you know, they say never meet your idols, right? So there you go. But it's also really good from your perspective that you have this ability to compare yourself and be like, yeah, I still have things to catch up on, but I can do that. So for me, then that brings the question of, in the future, where do you see yourself? What do you see yourself doing?
I mean, I don't know if there's much to say left on this LEC split, because we have Fnatic and then 2 more games next week, right? There's like 3 games left in the split. But I think when we come back to ERL, I'm not ready for what's coming.
Oh, because you guys have, I'm assuming, learned a lot here on the LEC.
Oh, obviously, yeah. I mean, mini league, but a lot of LEC teams didn't want to scrim us for the longest time. I can understand why. Not just because we are an ERL team, but a lot of teams are scared that we and KCLEC communicate between each other, which is not really true, but it will be after we go out of LEC. So they're not really ready for what's coming. I think we will do a lot in ERL, at least.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it, and also looking forward towards your match today against Fnatic. Thank you so much for your time here, and we're going to head back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Ginny and Hazel. Obviously, a bit of a somber tone there in the interview, although it was optimistic, talking about the growth from Hazel looking ahead towards the ERLs. But he's still playing in LEC.
Yeah.
And he's playing against Fnatic. And while the odds might still be stacked against them, Fnatic are not without their own problems. They really struggled against KC not B, KC Red.
As much as I want to join your narrative here, he sounded pretty defeatist. He was like, once we come back to ERLs, that's when we're going to be really good again.
Well, he's stuck here with us for another week. We're going to get a little bit more of Hazel, a little bit more of KCB. Of course, the pressure is on for KCB. They have to win all of their remaining games to stay in the playoffs race. It's a tall task.
Yeah.
Feels a little bit impossible, but again, you never know. If there's one thing that I have accepted in this split where I said that
LR wouldn't win.
LR wouldn't win a game and the enemy team would need to get a cut.
Yeah.
That whole thing that I said. It's that I probably don't have the strongest grasp on what exactly is happening in our league at the moment. So, screw it. KCB could win. I don't know. You never know.
I mean, you made this on Chaos, right? That was last year for Spring.
That was last year. It much more apt for this year.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say.
I mean, in a league where LR went 0-4 and now won 4 games in a row, I feel like KCB could do the same. It's definitely possible. The thing is, though, they have a tough time up against Fnatic now. I think Fnatic is not the peak consistent team, so they do have a lot of windows for attack. I think Empiros has had some off games here and there. I think Upset, while he's been the most consistent member, he hasn't had that star power that I've seen him with Mickey. They haven't had that lane domination that they had before, so I can definitely see that Hazel and Prime should be able to weather that storm. And with the Orianna locked in for Vladdy as well, we'll see if Vladdy can kind of have a little more redemption, because he's also been, frankly, a disappointment for me.
Yeah, I mean, you really were hoping for that big, major level up. Fnatic radically changing the top side of the map, something the Fnatic fans last year were looking for, we're asking for. We got Pobian, he was solid. They decided to make some more changes this year. Emperor so far not really delivering in a bigger way. Of course, you want to give him time, right? When Oscar joined the roster, it took him time as well before he could find his footing. See if it's the same story here. But this is a really important matchup to win for Fnatic as well, because they are kind of in the middle of this pack that's just hovering above the cusp they need for wins to get into playoffs. We expect them to be there, but you start dropping games to KCB, well,
that's rough.
Then it's rough.
Yeah, and especially like before, I mean, when we were coming into the split, in my head, 4 wins was kind of like the cusp of securing playoffs, and then 5 wins was the cusp. But now, like, since everybody's beating everybody, we're really not sure how many wins you're actually gonna need. So every win counts that much more. And I'm really curious here, KCB, they decided to instantly lock this Pantheon Galio up against the Orianna. They could choose to send it top now because they locked in the Rumble, but probably it's going to be into this Orianna. And I really like this adaptation from KCB, because I think you're putting a lot of pressure on Yukino by having him have this beefy front line in front of him and just allowing him to have more playmaking. And I think that's just playing to KCB's strength. Yukino looked like their best member. He plays so aggressive. He really pushes the limits. A little bit like 113, although I know he's not the most popular name as some people said.
Stop comparing everyone to 113.
No, okay, I'm comparing everybody. I've just compared him, and Reledge said it was a very good comparison. That's what he said.
All right.
So, very aggressive. He's gonna bring a lot of surprises this game, and I think he's gonna be the one leading the captain, leading the boat. The captain leading the boat.
Captain of the ship.
Captain of the ship.
Leading the charge. What are you looking for here?
Yeah, I mean,
whatever. Mix of metaphors.
Yeah, he's the leader, captain.
Admiral. All right, you need to stop. You take a break, reset your brain a little bit. We're heading into second ban phase. Unsurprisingly, the 3 beefy boys on the side of KCB are probably going to need some sort of scaling hypercarry, something Fnatic are well aware of. And since they've already gotten a Yunara for themselves, they've taken away the Aphelios. See if they ban another, as we're getting bans on the J4 and the Aatrox. They don't want to give that over to Razork. Razork, of course, had a rough Jace game yesterday, but it's already been banned. So that's 4 bans going at Razork. KCB clearly very committed to limiting what that man can play.
Yeah, and they really want to just set up Yukino for maximum success here, trying to give him the best possible avenue for some good gameplay, as we see what ADC that they want to go for. Lucian? I'm not sure about the Lucian. We'll see what support they decide to pair it up with. Kai'Sa, I like quite a bit more. You already have 3 champions that really want to go in. Kai'Sa follows that up nicely. You get last pick for support here, although it's pretty obvious what type of support you want to go for. It's going to be another engaged support, and that's why Fnatic feel comfortable locking in this Alistar, and they go for the Poppy jungle as well, which was one of Razork's best champions alongside the Vi, but hasn't been played too much in the jungle recently. But with all the dashes that KCB have built up here, I think Razork just thought it was too good of a Poppy game to miss out on.
Yeah, and I agree. And I love seeing Razork on the Poppy. This is a champion where he's not afraid to get really active at earlier stages of the game. KCB debating what the final pick is going to be here. You said it feels like they just want another piece of engage for the puzzle. Nautilus, the kind of stock standard pick. Yeah. I think the most obvious immediate choice. So Fnatic on their side have this scaling Yunara, have some crazy team fighting ults, and a Poppy that's really trying to shut down what KCB are doing. And KCB, we can all see what they're trying to do.
It's very go in.
Run in face first and pray.
Booga, booga.
There you go.
I do think that feels a bit bad, the Nautilus. You can see Prime hovering, the Seraphine hovering a few random champions, because against the Poppy, you ideally want to be able to lock in a range support so you don't have to worry about that Poppy W, you don't have to enter her range. But with the Kai'Sa, you just need to lock in something that's engaged, and with the Nico taken out as well, which is kind of the one range premier option we've seen a lot with the Kai'Sa. He didn't have many options. He's going to go for that Nautilus. Don't think they're going to get the laning lead that you would have hoped to get with something like the Kai'Sa not, just because that Alistar will absorb so much of that pressure. But it's really all about Yukino for me this game.
Yeah, need to see what he can get done in the early game. We've also seen so many Pantheon games, even in just this week, where you're able to take over on the sidelines, really use the pressure of that ulti to make your mark across the entire map. You've also got the semi-global of the Galio. So easy to see a world where...
Đây rồi, quay lại cái giải đấu LEC mọi người ơi. LEC.
To replicate some of that success against Fnatic, maybe with a little bit more discipline around the big purple worm in the mid game.
Yep.
But it all starts in the earlier stages, and it is a tall task. You talked about Upset not having quite the same high highs in the 2v2 as he had last season, but him and Lospa are a lethal duo. We're gonna have to see what they can get done with the power of this Yunara to get in the game.
I mean, for me, what I'm really looking for when it comes to this Fnatic lineup is seeing how Vladdy continues to develop. Because as I said earlier, he's been a pretty big disappointment for me, but I just know that he has so much more left in the tank. We saw him last year. He was such an exciting prospect alongside Kalist, and I just know that when he feels comfortable, when he feels great, he can be such a star player for this roster, and then also just Upset and Lospa unlocking each other. I think Impero
Ở đây thì cả hai bên đều đang gọi là đánh đội hình. Tôi tựa như bọn ABL hồi chiều nhỉ, cũng như mấy con tướng meta đảo qua đảo lại thôi.
Yeah, Razork will come help him if he needs it, or something happens around top lane, but it's very clear that it's around mid lane and bot lane that Fnatic want to play. So how does Upset and Lospa develop as a duo? Can they reach the same heights?
Cứ bình tĩnh coi một tí xíu nhé, cứ bình tĩnh coi một tí xíu nhé. Tối nay sẽ lượm những quả bô nào đây? Gì đây, em lâu có bô đâu, nó toàn lật kèo đỉnh cao vừa xé khít đó. Gọi là mới ăn một tí xíu mọi người mệt chứ sao không mệt. Cách ngày nào cũng cách, em say sưa, không có ngày nghỉ, không có ngày nghỉ mọi người.
Well, they're getting some great trades to start this game off in the bot lane at least, so that definitely could aid them a lot in their playoff dreams, especially now forcing Lospa to base so early means that Upset's going to lose a lot of minions here. He's just completely zoned off, having to wait for Alistar to return to lane. And we talked about it, right? We talked about how Upset and Lospa, they haven't found the same level of success that Upset found with Mickey. And falling behind in this early game, especially when Razork is pathing down to you, is going to feel really bad for Fnatic right now.
Now a little bit more pressure on Razork to make one of those early plays as he starts up the Gromp. We'll see how soon he actually wants to get active on the map. As you've also got the pathing down from Yukino. Camilla is trading well with Vladdy in the mid lane, but takes a bit more damage than he'd like on the way out.
That Galio skin is so weird.
What? You don't like it?
It's just, it doesn't look like a League skin. It looks like a...
Yeah, it looks like a Gundam. It's like Evangelion in my League of Legends.
Really, it really is.
This is a crossover
also, Prime
is
just killing Razork in his own jungle. This is a bot gap and a half, if I've ever seen one. I think Razork is just confused right now. He's like, what's happening? Nautilus just 1v1'd him in his own jungle. He has the base.
We were looking too much at Hazel after that interview. We were looking too much after Yukino in that.
Hồi qua cái gì đây? Em Long hồi qua tin Hazel. Nay lại tin nè. Chuẩn luôn anh ơi, làm cái cộng thôi, làm cái cộng. Fnatic đánh cũng có hay ho cái gì đâu mà.
Razork can't really walk in. I mean, if he walks into his own jungle, he's going to be in trouble. Hazel has to be a bit safe here, though.
Yeah. So they do have vision of the ward. They can clear that out in the tri-bush to make sure that now there's no wards for the side of Fnatic. You can see they have a sweeper on the Alistar and no ward on Upset. So they should be a little bit wary of the Pantheon, although they know that Yukino really wants to base because he completed his full clear and took some camps. Which is one thing that Upset and Lospa need to consider here as they have trades.
The Pole. Two more autos going down. Upset, despite the level discrepancy, bit of extra damage there is KCB, I think, hoping just for a chance now to recall. You highlighted Yukino, though, right? That the camp lead looking good right now, able to grab the blue buff as well. Sooner you get that Sundered Sky, sooner you can really just solo carry a lot of those skirmishes.
Prime here wants to be a bit cheeky and try to hold the wave, but Lospa sniffs him out. So they're just going to make sure that this wave crashes now so that they can base freely. Just wanted to draw a little bit.
Just wanted to draw a little
Practice on drawing.
I respect it. Yeah, it's good. Get the drawing in. Practice. Calm down, dude. It's an elimination game, please, sir.
Well, who knows? It might not be
it could be the start of a miracle run.
Hôm nay em nghĩ là bên phía KCB làm được mọi người. Fnatic gọi là Fnatic cũng là đối mềm. Fnatic đánh cũng xì cà que bỏ mẹ đi.
Level 6 is where KCB really are 100% in the driver's seat. Fnatic are going to be the ones who have to weather the storm of Pantheon ult, Galio ult, and a Kaisa ready to just jump in.
There's a lot of annoying globals. At the same time, though, I think like bot lane, level 6, Yunara Alistar has a lot more pure power, and just how much fighting power that provides should allow them some leniency in the 2v2. But it is true. That's one of the big reasons why we see such a high priority on Pantheon. It's just that ulti and the fact that he can play both sides makes it really, really difficult for anybody to really contest much when Pantheon has that ultimate up.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, it is Yukino to be really this playmaker at early stages, now linking up with his bottom lane, and on the opposite side, really looking at Upset to be that big scaling carry.
I still can't get over the Galio skin. It doesn't look like a Lee skin.
Bro, it's so, I don't know, I love it.
I mean, it's cool.
It is cool.
Right?
Rồi kéo chúng nè, múc nè. Có không? Có đập nhau không? Va nhẹ khu vực gọi là bộ đôi đua boss mọi người ơi. Tập này chắc là hai bên cũng gọi là đánh gần với nhau thôi.
The Rek'Sai that rides a jet ski, fine. But the Galio that looks too much like a mech, this is where folks, we gotta draw the line.
I just feel like the model looks too detailed. It's like, they can do that? You know what I mean? Like, the model doesn't look like a League model. Also, KCB picking up the dragon there. Yep. Good start for them. One of the things I was looking at a lot, I was reviewing Lost Returns today.
Okay, all right.
And they are really good at getting early dragons. And I do think